From storyflo, this is your daily audio brief. It's Brock, July 21st. Big day in sports. Let's get to it. Let's get into it. First, from BBC Sport Football. Fake kits worth £18 seized by police during World Cup. Counterfeit football shirts worth over £18 were seized in the UK during the course of the World Cup because of safety concerns. With the fire service warning, the outfits can be a danger to those who wear them. Next. Second, from the Guardian Sport, Spain beat Argentina 1-0 after extra time to win the 2026 World Cup. As it happened, Ferran Torres' extra time goal gave Spain a deserved victory over a negative Argentina in New Jersey. You can also follow the build-up on our news blog, which contains photographtic proof that things are livening up in New York City. One of the big questions for those of us in the UK is how to watch the final, writes David Wall. For all that has been made about ITV's coverage with their New York studio and one of two excellent pundits, I think their coverage has been less than the sum of its parts, as usual. Up next, third from the Guardian Sport. DeChambeau moves the dial for golf, but is his posturing and pantomime worth the hassle? Rush, Ewan Murray. Petulant reaction to a justified two-stroke penalty at the Open illustrates why the American is happier on the LIV Tour. The potential for stigma was laid bare close to the conclusion of Saturday at the Open Championship. Bryson, you cheat, a lone voice bellowed from the stand adjacent to Royal Birkdale's 18th green. This is an environment in which being unfaithful to one's spouse would be seen as preferable to breaching the sacred rules of a sacred game. By Sunday, the world no one, Scotty Scheffler, was riding to the defense of Bryson DeChambeau. And then, fourth from the Guardian Sport. My hands were all over the place for surreal, open-winning putt, says Ryan Fox. Fox sinks winning putt on 18th for first major title. It's going to be big back home in New Zealand. Ryan Fox has said he had no sensation in his hands as he hit the winning putt in the 154th Open Championship. Fox, who claimed his first major title, became the first New Zealander since Bob Charles in 1963 to win the Open. He did so in dramatic style, with a birdie putt on the final hole sufficient for a 68 and 10 under par total, which was enough to beat Cameron Young by one stroke. Fox was typically brisk in his approach to playing the 18th. Next, fifth from the Guardian Sport, Australia back opener Jake Weatherald for home test series against Bangladesh. Cummins, Hazelwood and Lyon named in squad after injury. Darwin hosts first test on 13th of August with second in Mackay. Opening bat Jake Weatherald has retained his spot in Australia's men's test squad for the looming series against Bangladesh. Despite a middling Ashes campaign last summer, Weatherald has been named in the 13-man squad, which is bolstered by the return of a trio of big guns. Continue reading. Up next. Sixth, from Awful Announcing, Dana White slams World Cup broadcast, worst production team in the history of sports. Dana White is going after the production team for the World Cup, calling them the worst in history. He's not just talking about the recent final, but also referencing a previous incident where the UFC's production crew messed up identifying celebrities. White's got a history of speaking his mind, and this time he's giving credit where credit is due, saying the World Cup production team absolutely fucking suck. He's not alone in his criticism, with others like John Strong and Wayne Rooney also expressing their disappointment with the broadcast. The production team had some major gaffes, including mistaking Matt Damon for Brad Pitt and referring to A$AP Rocky as AKA Rocky. They also got slammed for an 11-minute halftime show featuring global celebrities. Host Broadcast Services, the company responsible for the world feed, has until 2030 to iron out the wrinkles. It's worth noting that White has a bit of a history with production crews, having previously called out his own team for a similar mistake. He's not just criticizing the World Cup production team, but also taking a shot at his own UFC crew, saying they're only the second worst. It's clear that White is passionate about getting it right, and he's not afraid to speak his mind. The World Cup production team has a lot to live up to, and it's clear that they've got some work to do. With the next World Cup just around the corner, they'll have to step up their game if they want to avoid more criticism from the likes of Dana White. And then, seventh, from Awful Announcing, Tashin Reed returning to Washington Post Commanders beat. Tashin Reed's back to covering the Commanders for the Washington Post after a tough year. He left the paper in February when they laid off nearly a third of their workforce and erased their sports section. Reed was one of the few beat writers who got cut, but he's now returning to the Post after 5 months. He had a strong run at The Athletic before joining the Post in 2025, and he's coming back to a team that's looking to bounce back from a 5-12 finish last year. Jaden Daniels is entering his 3rd year at quarterback, and training camp is just around the corner. Reed's got a few weeks to get settled before the season starts. Next, 8th from Awful Announcing. Bill Belichick details tough pre-draft evaluation for Rob Gronkowski. He fell asleep. Bill Belichick's first season as North Carolina Tar Heels head coach didn't go well, but his 8 Super Bowl wins with the Patriots speak for themselves. Ahead of his 2nd season with the Tar Heels, Belichick reminisced about drafting Rob Gronkowski despite a tough evaluation. He watched Gronkowski at Arizona, but not for long, citing a lack of production in the passing game. As a freshman, Gronkowski didn't play much, and as a sophomore, he mostly caught short passes. He missed his junior year with a back injury and came out early, leaving little video for scouts to review. When Gronkowski visited the Patriots, he fell asleep, making it one of the worst visits Belichick's ever had. Several coaches thought he wasn't a fit for the team, and it wasn't until his college coach, Mike Stoops, vouched for him that the Patriots selected him in the 2nd round. Belichick credits Stoops for the pick, saying they took Gronkowski because of his advocacy. It wasn't until Gronkowski ran routes in a preseason game that the staff realized his potential. Belichick praises Gronkowski's temperament and ability, saying he had tremendous hands and concentration. He notes that Gronkowski's evaluation was tough coming out of Arizona, but it paid off in the end. Gronkowski has since joined the media side of the NFL, serving as an analyst for Fox and hosting The Other Football on Tubi. Up next, 9th from Awful Announcing. Dave Portnoy laments what has become of Tom Brady, one of the great downfalls of an icon. Dave Portnoy is sounding off on Tom Brady, saying he's become one of the greatest disappointments in sports. As a diehard Patriots fan, Portnoy's been a huge Brady supporter over the years. But things have changed since Brady left New England. He thinks Brady's turned on the Pats, and now he's acting like a total celebrity trying to stay relevant. Portnoy's got a problem with Brady's recent antics, like giving the middle finger to YouTuber-turned-fighter Logan Paul at the World Cup final. He's calling it a great downfall of an icon and says Brady's legacy is being lame-fied. Portnoy even blames Fanatics CEO Michael Rubin for Brady's current career path, suggesting he's manipulating Brady to stay in the spotlight. It all started when Brady turned his back on the Patriots, according to Portnoy. And then, 10th, from Awful Announcing, Josh Pate has a Pat McAfee-sized vision for his own future at ESPN. Josh Pate's got a 5 to 10 year plan for himself at ESPN, and it's modeled after Pat McAfee's setup. He thinks combining year-round college football coverage with innovative sports media presentation is the key to limitless possibilities. Pate's already making waves at ESPN, appearing on various shows, and he's optimistic about the network's willingness to support his growth. Pate's path to ESPN is different from McAfee's. Instead of going independent and then getting picked up, he's spread himself across multiple partners, including 247 Sports, CBS Sports, On3, and Yahoo Sports. He's also launched a separate show with Will Compton and Taylor Lewin. The ESPN contributor role is just the latest addition to his portfolio. Pate has zero plans to leave YouTube or change his show, and he's already getting the kind of exposure he wants. Whether ESPN will commit to long-term money like they did with McAfee remains to be seen, but Pate's betting on it. He's looking back on this period as a trailblazing few years and wants to make the most of his opportunity to carry the college football flag on ESPN. That's the rundown. Back at it tomorrow. That's your brief. Find every story and claim your own free feed at storyflo.com.